So how did I get into franchising? I was a field marketing manager for Checkers and Rallies, and I was presenting at a franchise reunion meeting. And our new franchise chief development officer, who is now one of my mentors, came up to me after the meeting and asked if I had ever had any interest in selling franchises. And I had had a previous experience in sales, selling sports sponsorships, but not in selling franchises. So I said, actually, I love the sales portion of my job. I felt like I was selling in whatever the brand was pushing out to the consumers, to the franchise communities but I didn't have that sales aspect of actually selling a franchise specifically. So I shifted departments from marketing over to franchise development and have not looked back since. So what I love about the franchise industry is really the ability to connect, people with a dream that they have of building their own business or being their own boss or having really kind of control of their own destiny within their day-to-day job or what they're passionate about. I feel like the franchising industry is something that's just has very passionate people. And there's a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and just a lot of love for all the way around. And I always find in the franchising industry that if there's questions I have, or if I come up with a situation that I haven't faced before, that people in the industry, in my role or similar roles within other companies or organizations, are always so open and willing to share and help wherever they can. So what makes a good fit for the franchise industry? I think ultimately the biggest thing there is having somebody that's passionate about the brand that they're looking at franchising and passionate about the business. I don't think that entrepreneurs are always the best franchisors because they they like to have more control over what they're doing versus following systems and processes that are put in place, which is the beauty of a franchise system, is to be able to follow those processes and systems that have been put in place to be successful. And I think the other thing that really makes somebody a good fit for as a franchise is their ability to connect with people, not only within their organization to be a good manager or mentor or a good leader to their team or teams, depending on the size of their franchise organization, but also within the community that they serve. So being able to go outside of their four walls, if it's something that's a brick and mortar, or, and really connect with the community in order to, grow their business and engage and create a love of their business within that community. I think the traits that are shared by the most successful franchises that I know are really, engagement in the business. I think, them being engaged, them kind of being hands-on. And while that becomes harder and harder as people grow their organizations to multi-units and larger levels, but giving, still having a presence in the business and then giving that, ownership or leadership to people that they have on their team to really enable and trust them to do well. I think the other thing that makes a good franchisee or a good trait is the financial piece. I think it sometimes is underestimated, understanding the financials of a business and how critical that can be, or how impactful that can be on the success of a franchise organization. So the industry's come back from the pandemic, and how I feel about that. I think that it's been, it's still a little bit of a roller coaster. I think I think we have some ups and downs that feel like when we feel like we're getting some forward momentum. Something happens and we may take a half a step back, but I definitely feel positive about it. I feel like it's there's a lot of good things that are coming out of the pandemic. I think just the specifically in the restaurant industry too, just the ability that the restaurant industry had to really pivot and change very quickly and adapt to the limitations of that some of the states or government put on restaurants. I think that that was really just really showcased the resiliency of the franchise industry. Not only in restaurants, but more specifically, I'm closer to restaurants working in that industry. But I do think that it's, there's a lot of positive growth. I think that there's still some hesitancy on where people are going from a development perspective with the challenges that we're having with staffing, the development challenges of just construction costs, distribution of products, delays in equipment and materials and those types of things, and then just kind of the unknowns that are awaiting in the future. That people are kind of, I think, pushing pause or maybe holding close right now. Managing their business, working on making their business the best that it is today, so that they can continue to grow, or where they are taking risks to develop or making those decisions to develop. I think it is a lot more calculated and a lot less risk adverse than it has been in the past. I think the challenges or the opportunities that the industry can still address, during the pandemic and post-pandemic, would be just really being able to recruit that talent and maintain that talent. I think that right now we're seeing the staffing across, whether it's a franchise concept, and at the retail level or the store level or at the corporate level, or that the support systems, is just being able to retain that talent and that experience and that knowledge that people have, and able to support their franchisees. I think the other thing that we're taking away from this pandemic is really just the ability that do some of the things that we have done in the past and have pivoted during the pandemic. Are some of those practices worth keeping long term, or definitely looking and adjusting moving forward and saying, okay, well, maybe we don't need to test something for 6 months before we roll it out to the system. Maybe we can, maybe we could do that in a much shorter period of time, because we were able to do that during the pandemic while the environment was slightly different because some things were forced to be done that quickly. What benefits can we take from that? And then I think, we've seen a lot of restaurants and stores that really simplify what their operations are doing. And I think there's a huge opportunity for training, as we continue to come out of this, and looking at how we do that moving forward, given kind of the influx of people coming in and out of roles, and in companies, and in having those changes and those shifts inside those restaurants or stores, where they didn't have kind of the stability that they used to have in the past. So I think we're going to see that for a little bit longer. So I think the advice that I would give is find a couple good mentors. I think that's been something that's been such a blessing in my life, is that I've had some really good or I do have some very good mentors. And I always, enjoy the opportunity to even, meet new mentors and have them, network with different people within the industry. And as far as the franchise, to be successful in franchising, I think, especially in the franchise development role, I do think it's really important to also just network. And you never know when that person that you talk to today may come back, 2 years down the road, 5 years down the road, 6 months down the road. And at that time might be the right fit for them and for you to move forward with something. So I think just the networking and building a solid base of of people that you know and people that you can go to when you need help with something, and then people that help you grow within your career by that have kind of already paved the road and that able to provide you with that career advice or that advice, during different situations that will help you, hopefully get there faster, and maybe not make some of the same mistakes in the past. And then, and yeah, so those are the things that I think, just the mentoring and networking are the two things that I would give for advice for young up and comers in this space.